Kelly Nutley is just back from Princeton. We'll have that story as well.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Mac. And as we said, we've been telling you all day that Nightly News is coming up next live from Peoria. And Mike Dimmick is with the crew down in East Peoria. Mike, can you give us sort of a preview of what's coming up next from the exact same spot you're at, I guess?
Hi, Anna. Yeah, we've been saying NBC Nightly News is next for several years. This is the first time, I believe, that we've been able to say that NBC Nightly News is next door. It looks a little bit Oz-like right now, but believe it or not, that is the set. They are very concerned about some of the weather problems because of all the rain that we had early this morning, even late last night. So what you are seeing here is the NBC Nightly News set, and you're going to be able to see a pretty good view of Peoria in back of Tom Brokaw. Earlier tonight on Live at 5, he told us we're going to be looking at the politics and how Peoria fits into that, and also jobs. So with that, we say NBC Nightly News is next.
Bush and Clinton preparing to go head-to-head Sunday night in St. Louis. No man's land between Iraq and Kuwait, and Americans seized by Iraqi forces. And politics in the heartland. The view from Peoria, crucial to the president.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw, reporting tonight from Peoria, Illinois.
Good evening from Peoria, Illinois, a big state in the Electoral College, and it's voted with the Republicans in the last 6 presidential elections. How is President Bush playing in Peoria this time? Well, he's got trouble, but he could begin to turn that around with a strong performance in the Sunday night debates in St. Louis. We begin our coverage tonight with NBC's John Cochran on how all the candidates are getting ready. All right, thank you very much, Andrea Mitchell and John Cochran tonight. Illinois, of course, is getting extra attention this year because it could make history if it elects the first black woman to the United States Senate. However, NBC's national correspondent Bob Kerr tells us tonight this is by no means a sure thing in this state.
At the very least, Carol Moseley Braun is a political superstar in the national spotlight since her upset primary victory over a longtime incumbent senator.
And lo and behold, on the 17th of March, we surprised this country, and Illinois lit a spark.
For months, no other challenger or incumbent raised more campaign money. Braun was a shoo-in until a WMAQ TV report in Chicago last week.
Is it a question of family finances, or is it much more?
Is Saddam Hussein playing another dangerous game? Tensions with Baghdad are escalating tonight, with word that Iraqi forces are holding an American worker seized just inside the Kuwaiti border. We have NBC's Robert Hager live at the State Department tonight. Robert, what's the latest? America close up now. How is it playing in Peoria? For the past 3 elections especially, the Republican Party has gotten lots of help from working-class Democrats and from moderate Republicans. But this time, well, the local congressman is Bob Michael. He's the Republican leader of the House, and he's hearing a familiar message.
I go home frequently and know what people are saying. When's the president going to really get cranked up? Or when is it going to really give us a sense of where this country's going in the future? Am I going to have jobs for my kids, et cetera, et cetera?
Those frustrations take on political weight at the Peoria Board of Elections, registering voters right up to the Monday deadline. Victoria Taylor brought her son in to sign up. Recently widowed, she works 2 jobs to support her family.
It's very difficult, and even with the 2 jobs, it still doesn't seem to be enough money.
Unemployment in the greater Peoria area is running below the national average, but these better times do have a price. Like so many other Rust Belt communities, Peoria relies much more on jobs in the service industries at lower wages. Caterpillar remains a powerful part of the local economy, but in the last 13 years, the number of jobs at CAT went from 23,000 to 8,600. And Caterpillar is in the middle of an uneasy labor truce. There is still no contract after a bitter strike and lockout earlier this year. The Vanderveer family lives here. Mary works as a secretary and tries to make the money stretch. Dennis has put in 21 years at Caterpillar. His dad worked there for 30 years. But this decorated Vietnam veteran who voted for Reagan and Bush now thinks they failed him.
We need jobs in our country, and we need a president that's going to be looking in that area.
Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
No, I don't think I am at all. I can't even say if I'm at the same spot that I was 4 years ago. I think that things have went back for the American working man and his family in this country.
Reagan Democrats aren't the only ones who are thinking of switching. Billy Block is the liaison between Peoria's business and public school communities. She's a lifelong Republican with several concerns.
As a pro-choice Republican, I'm concerned about where Bush stands, and I do not agree with him on that particular issue. I'm concerned about education. I don't feel that Bush has delivered as the education president, and I'm very concerned about the economy.
Republican or Democrat, the folks lunching on the Peoria Courthouse Plaza agree there is one most important campaign issue.
Number one would be the economy.
Probably the economy.
Economy. Jobs. More jobs.
And these people, at least, are united in their feelings about Ross Perot re-entering the race.
I'm not taking him seriously.
Well, he talks a lot, but I haven't heard him say much yet.
He doesn't know what he wants to do.
He's a phony. You can't believe that man for nothing.
I think he's a joke.
But between Bush and Clinton, the decision still is a work in progress.
President Bush.
Bill Clinton.
Mr. Clinton.
Bush.
Ross Perot.
I haven't made a decision on that yet.
In addition to Caterpillar, of course, this is also prime farm country. So the president, in a recent trip to Illinois, announced several steps to expand the use of ethanol. That's the fuel produced from corn, but so far there is no sign that it has reignited his stalled campaign here. Peoria was in big trouble 10 years ago. There was a long, nasty strike at Caterpillar. Unemployment here was in double digits, and there was an aging downtown. But this little city has made an impressive comeback, helped in part by going back to the future. Riverboat gambling. NBC's Mike Betcher tonight.
Perhaps it's not such a giant leap in logic after all. Farming and raising livestock are giant gambles. Rick Seacrest's pigs got sick, and his farm profits got sicker. The odds are against a factory worker keeping the same job for a lifetime these days. Rick was laid off from his second job at Peoria's Caterpillar plant. Considered in those terms, it is less a mystery why Rick Seacrest each morning trades his jeans and blue collar
8, hard 8, mark it up.
for pinstripes and a bow tie. The odds are finally in his favor.
10 down on the end, mark it up.
Aboard Peoria's new riverboat casino, Rick has found steady work. Peoria changed, so did Rick.
There's very little security around here anymore. I've got friends that's worked at Caterpillar, got laid off for 4 or 5 years. Used to be when I was a kid, every other kid in class was a farm boy. Now you'd be lucky if you got 1 or 2.
Illinois legalized riverboat gambling to give depressed river communities a boost. Attendance and profits have exceeded expectations.
I just won $100. Boy, we found on the floor.
Each day, the Paradise Riverboat carries an average of 3,000 gamblers on cruises up and down the Illinois River.
I haven't been to Vegas for years. Why travel that distance when I can come right over here? Hey, there's my 7. There's another one. Oh, yikes!
They keep coming back, so I think Central Illinois, the greater Peoria area, has become a focal point as to will it play in Peoria, in the Peoria area? You bet it will.
Hands that used to build things are trained for new tasks. It goes against Peoria's manufacturing tradition, but mirrors America's growing dependence on service industries.
On the whole, do you think it's been a plus for your town?
Chicago people would say, Peoria, why go there? There's nothing there. Now there is.
The river gave Peoria its first life, one that calloused the hands of its builders. Now the hands are softer, but at least they are busy. Mike Betcher, NBC News, Peoria.
That's Nightly News from Peoria for this Friday night. I'm Tom Brokaw. Tomorrow night I'll be in St. Louis. Garrett Utley will be in New York. We'll see you then.
And coming up next on News 25 at 6, jurors sentenced Jeffrey Risley to death for the murder of little Kayla Lansing.
Her relatives say justice was served, but it won't bring Kayla back.
Central Illinois, as you just saw, makes the national spotlight as NBC brings nightly news to Peoria.
And voter registration is way up. We'll tell you why. News 25 at 6 is next.
People who know fine custom cabinetry choose Woodmo, and discriminating homeowners are discovering the home place. Peoria's new custom design studio for fine wood-mode cabinets. Discover why it's the choice in the finest home. Visit the home place. Now open Sheridan Road at War Memorial. Also in Roanoke.
Thinking about buying a new car? Stop first and compare. Now at S&K Chevrolet Geo, you can pay just $99 over invoice on any 92 or 93 in stock. S&K has received authorization for a special 6.75% financing rate on their entire inventory of 92 and 93 cars and trucks. No matter what your bank or credit union tells you, this is not a buy down, and it will lower consumer costs. But this offer must end by 5 p.m. Saturday. No credit union membership required or pre-approved loan needed. So if you're looking for a new car, stop first, then go directly to S&K Chevrolet, Knoxville at Pioneer Parkway today.
At ColorFast, we have 30-minute developing, 2-hour E6 slides, black and white, prints from slides, slides from prints, old photos copied, and much, much more. So come to ColorFast.
Clippy gets shock therapy on Cheers.
Central Illinois' #1 news channel, News 25. With Tom McIntyre, Christine Zach, Bill Houlihan's weather, and Lee Hall Sports. Now, News 25 at 6.
Good evening. Convicted murderer Jeffrey Risley has been sentenced to death.
A jury decided this afternoon that's the price he will have to pay for the kidnap, rape, and murder of 6-year-old Kayla Lansing. News 25's Kelly Nutt was in the courtroom when the verdict was read.
It took the jury about 3 hours to decide Jeffrey Risley should die by lethal injection for the murder of 6-year-old Kayla Lansing of Spring Valley.